So, Sue, do you want to call the meeting to order?
I'd like to call the meeting to order on June, what's today's date? June 8th at 1 p.m.
So we need to read the boilerplate.
Yeah, you see that in the chat, Sue?
I can't see it now. It was
You
there.
want me
now
to
it's
do it
gone.
just because I've got it right here?
You want to read it?
Yeah, I'll do it real fast. How's that?
Okay.
All right. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 30, Section 8, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Southborough Youth Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information in the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or equipment to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough's website at https://southboroughtown.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting may do so in the following manner: https://southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will put on Southborough's website an audio or video recording transcript or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Done.
Thank you.
And all votes need to be roll call votes, which means every time we vote on anything, everybody individually has to say their last name and aye or nay.
Okay.
All right, done. Good.
Thank you, Marguerite.
You're welcome.
Thank you, thank you. And the agenda was posted. Apologies for it not being sent over email. Oh, there's a child in the picture. Hi, child. This is our second time going through. We even remembering all the nuances of what we normally do for a meeting and just operating as best we can. Apologies for that not being sent. I have the agenda pulled up on my, I hope this is okay to do. Can everybody see it here?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, is this all right with everyone if we're sharing? I can either do this or I can just reference it and tell everybody what's next. Does anybody have a preference on how this is displayed?
I think I'd rather have that minimized while we're talking because
It's hard to see everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna stop the share then. So I'll reference it to keep our agenda moving then, okay?
That was my fault that I didn't send it out to everybody.
No, I didn't think of it either. It's
Next time.
It's reflection of, what's up? You have it now?
Yeah, we have it now. So
Okay, thank you. Great. Oh, and there's Leslie.
Leslie, yay!
Yay.
Oh, and she looks like she's in like,
goodness.
hi,
Where
Leslie.
is she?
There she is.
Wow, it's nice.
You're muted though. Can you unmute yourself?
You just click on the microphone icon and it will
There we go.
There you go. Welcome.
Sorry.
Nice to see you.
Issues, but my
No
daughter
worries.
helped me out, so I'm good.
Oh, good, good. Welcome. So we were just starting the agenda. So the first thing is to approve the minutes from the May 11th meeting, which Sarah sent to everyone.
I think it was May 5th meeting, but I could be wrong. Was it May 11th?
It says on the agenda May 11th, but that might be
Look at my notes.
an error.
Oh, yes, May 11th. Sorry.
Okay.
I had one correction or one emendation.
Yes.
Where it says town planner, I think it's section B.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't the town planner, it was Mark Purple and Brian Ballantyne, right?
Okay.
I would say finance team.
All right. And then,
And I
Sec-
think you were just gonna add my name to the
Yeah.
attendees.
yeah. And Mark Purple, and who's the other dude?
Brian Ballantyne, like the
Brian
beer.
Valentine Bear.
Yeah.
All right, and Leslie. All right, I'll do that and send you a amended copy. Do we want to approve them as if?
I move to approve as amended.
Second,
Landry, aye.
Butka, aye.
I,
Sarah, Mike is aye.
F. Dawnbacher, aye.
I don't know if you got me. Leslie had an I.
Leslie, are you back up in Vermont?
Oh, God, yes. I didn't mean to have that background. I should get rid of that.
No, I like
Oh,
it.
it's beautiful.
It's nice.
Thank you. Sorry. I'm like
You like it a lot.
distracting, probably.
No, soothing one.
No, it's soothing.
Comforting.
I don't know how to get rid of it.
Don't
That's
worry
fine,
about it.
leave
It's
it.
okay.
All right, I'll leave it.
All right. Also, so the next item on the agenda is the director's report. Again, our apologies for not being able to send these as routinely as we normally do. Understandably, it's been a very busy time and full of lots of transitions and working strange hours, at least I feel like I have been. So I sent you a director's report from our staff for March through April. No, March through May.
May.
Thank you. So I don't know if anybody has any questions on the content that was outlined there.
I'm just bringing it up on my phone.
Okay. It's quite lengthy, so if you didn't have a chance to look at it beforehand, it might
Okay.
not. But we basically tried to give you statistics on how many people we continued to see and how we were seeing people, what events and programs we were still able to offer, how we've been spending our time. We've also included information about trainings. We actually, it was very opportune timing, but we, through that grant that we received from the state, had purchased a number of online trainings, and we were able to complete a lot of those. So they're in various stages of completion depending on the staff member you talk to, but we listed those out, and Shannon and Megan have both been very busy doing a lot of legwork in Shannon especially, and finding out information about social services, benefits, moratoriums, things like that, which is sort of a daily reconnaissance mission for her. So, so we've been keeping quite busy. So if nobody has any questions on that, or maybe has any questions about how things have been going that isn't outlined on the director's report, am I seeing none? Okay, so we can move on to budget discussion. Let's see. Trying to recall the last time we spoke as a board, in a board meeting, what we were sharing was there was a proposal to share a full-time position with another department, if you recall. And the board voted unanimously in opposition to that, citing that there would be concerns about confidentiality and also concerns about a skill set translating from an admin assistant in one department to the admin assistant in another department. So there's been I know Sue has attended a number of meetings with the selectmen and advisory. And basically where things stand right now with town meeting happening this weekend, there is another joint meeting with advisory and the selectmen this afternoon.
Oh, is it this afternoon? It's not tomorrow night? Shoot, okay.
No, as far as I know, it's today.
Okay,
I think advisory meets first and then they have a joint meeting after that. But they are looking, there's some disagreement as of right now in terms of not whether to support the full-time position. There's actually other departments that are looking for hours for staff. The police department is asking for 2 full-time officers, and the IT department is also looking for some personnel additions. And so the disagreement between advisory and the selectmen was really about the start date for these positions, not so much about whether they support the positions. So I was asked by a member of advisory if we would be comfortable with a start date of September 1st for the position. In doing that, some funding would be saved. And so some would feel more comfortable with the bottom line, but also those that were in support of a January 1st start date for these positions were really in support of that position because there would be more information about the fiscal climate if we waited until January 1st. So there was a lot of discussion about it. At any rate, we were approached by a member of advisory asking if we would be comfortable with a start date of September 1st, which is sort of an opportunity to meet in the middle. And there's pros and cons for both a July 1st start date and a September 1st start date. I'll just share where we stand on it. July 1st is, and our feeling is that July 1st would be an ideal time to start training someone. Summers tend to be, I don't want to characterize them as slower. We're actually quite busy in the summer, but they are opportunity to get all the things that we haven't been able to get done happen in the summer. And so training somebody starting in earlier summer is a more ideal time frame. However,
So
this
can
year,
So I think what you're saying is because school's out that you're in the office more? Is that what, and you would be there more so you would be able to train the person more hands-on? Is that what?
that's part of it. That's part of it. What I was about to say is this year is not quite the same as every other year because we're transitioning, we're working remotely, and we're starting to transition back to the office, which is further down on the agenda. We can talk about that in a minute, but so it's a bit of a difficult year to navigate, or summer to navigate, because it's hard to predict what our service delivery will look like, what our time in the office will look like. But yeah, typically speaking, summers are a different pace for us, or maybe that's not accurate. Maybe they're just as busy, but we are in the office more than we typically are during the school year. So for that reason, July 1st is an ideal time to train somebody. On the other hand, we have this transition coming up where we're going to be heading back to the office in some capacity. And so it would be nice to have time to navigate that and figure out how our current staffing will look and how our current service delivery will look during the summer months. The other piece of this too is that a September 1st start date allows us ample time to really find a candidate for this position that would be ideal. We have a number of, aside from the job description outlined for an admin assistant and the tasks associated with the position, we have a skill set that we're looking for and a sensitivity and background that we're looking for also, that is sort of specific to our department, and the search for an ideal candidate might take some time. So, so having a September 1st start date could be really beneficial for us to take our time with that process of doing interviews and so on and so forth. And talking with the other two staff in our department, it feels comfortable for us to have a start date of September 1st, but I wanted to bring it to the board for discussion, and if others want to chime in, and we will need to take a vote on this and get back to them about if the board is comfortable with that.
I think it makes sense to postpone it to the September 1st date. I mean, July 1st is what, 3 weeks away? I don't think that would give you adequate time to post the job. I think you probably have to post it internally too. Do you have to do that?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I don't know. It's sometimes, I know in corporate worlds, they make you post it internally for a week or two. And you guys are still in transition. You don't want to start a new employee and be working at home. I think I've had some friends who have started under those circumstances, and it's really hard.
It's very odd. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
odd.
I think it's just, they never feel quite attached or part of the group until you can all be face to face. So I think given the current circumstances and hopefully transition back to more time in the office, or at least have the opportunity to go to an office, I'm more comfortable with September. So
I agree.
I definitely agree. Especially if we get some more support from both advisory and the selectmen by moving it out a little bit. I just don't think you should wait until January.
No, I agree.
I agree with the September 1 date as well, just to give you more time to find somebody and get some, training in place or whatever you need to do to get that person up to speed. I mean, although it would be nice to have it over the summer, but I think it's just too quick to turn that around.
Okay, shall I move that we accept this, that we support the September 1st hire date for our employee, for our new employee, for your new employee? Shall I move? Okay, I move that we, that the board supports the September 1st hiring date for the new employee, for the admin assistant.
Second.
Sarah Micus, A.
Landry, aye.
Subaka, aye.
Patton, aye.
Beth Dombacher, aye.
Okay,
Excellent.
great.
That was easy.
I was just looking up some information because I wasn't clear on when the joint meeting was, and the selectmen are meeting. Sue, you were correct. Advisory is meeting with the selectmen tomorrow at 6 p.m. about the budget. There is another meeting that's happening today with advisory, but
So
It's not.
if you have nothing to do tomorrow, tomorrow night, it's not a bad thing to listen, to see where we're at with them. So, and you can chime in, you're not on a Zoom call like we are right now, but you can raise your hand and say some things. They're probably so sick of me.
No, they love
Impossible.
it.
Sick of you, Sue.
Okay. All right. So let's move forward if I can find it here. So anything additional about the director's report or budget or any other questions before we move on? No? Okay. The next item on the agenda is about transitioning back to the offices. So we just wanted to update you all that it's a little confusing because the state has, via Governor Baker has outlined different phases that the state is in terms of reopening. At the same time, the town has phases of reopening, and the phase numbers don't necessarily correspond, or the timeline in which phases happen and transition to the next phase are not exactly the same. So as town departments and employees, we're in phase 1 still of transition. Actually, I'm sorry. Phase 1 might actually be what it was status quo, but the phase that we're in currently is that we're heading back to the office, but we are only allowed to have 25% capacity operating within our department at a time. Our buildings are still closed to the public. So even while at the office, we will not be to your cat. I'm sorry, he's so cute. I keep seeing her profile. So 25% capacity in the office, and with 3 of us, that means 1 whole person without a leg. No, I'm just kidding. So we have come up with a schedule. We're going to be, the 3 of us will be rotating into the office. We're following suit with what Town Hall is doing and not having any employees in the building on Fridays to allow for cleaning and having the building free of humans, free of any employees from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday each week. So Megan will be going in on Mondays and Thursdays, and Shannon, I'll be going in on Tuesdays, and Shannon will be going in on Wednesdays. That is our plan for the month of June. Your cat really wants to give you a kiss, I think.
She's so funny.
Sorry, focus, Sarah, focus. The part of the challenge is a couple of us have young children still at home through the end of June, and things are pretty up in the air and uncertain in terms of what will be coming next. So we thank Megan for being willing to go in a couple of days a week, and maybe that's a win-win. Maybe she's happy to go back to the office on some capacity. I'm actually looking forward to it as well. It'll be like a vacation. So I'm sorry, I do love my children, but so that is starting this week, right? We have a training that we have to attend with Emily, who's the new Board of Health nurse, before we can actually start going into the office. She's going to be joining us for our staff meeting on Wednesday. And once we've had that training, then we can implement this schedule. So
so when you see clients for a while now, it will be a call, not in person.
Yes, we'll continue working remotely with clients for probably a while.
Do you need to be in the office? I mean, honestly, because it does. You're face to virtually,
Yeah.
what will you do in the office? Answer the phone? I mean, because that could be forwarded to you guys. I know.
Yeah, it's not,
I
to be
think she
honest
wants
with
to go
you.
to the office, Sarah.
Yeah, if you want to, that's fine. But I know that it's also very hard. And if it doesn't, if you could be more efficient working at home right now, I
Yep.
think that's the
Yep.
best place for you to be. So,
Yes, yes. We've had many a conversation about this. I mean, really, there's nothing we can do at the office that we can't do working remotely. Part of, at least, I mean, we're all different individuals. So we have, and each department has different individual employee needs also that are being considered. So it's really on a case by case conversation with employees. For us, in talking with Megan and Shannon, it felt comfortable with the prospect of going in once a week because truly we have to start somewhere with being able to transition back. And we're just going to evaluate this one step at a time in terms of what each employee's needs are personally and what they're comfortable with, and balancing that with the needs of the community and our ability to continue doing our job. We have had no lapse in our ability to connect with people and continue to return phone calls and emails and see people. There are a couple of things that we'd be able to do in the office that would take longer doing remotely, such as having forms that need signatures returned to us, or if somebody needed help faxing something, that doesn't come across our radar all that often, but that's sometimes a need people have. So there's a few things that working in the office will enable us to do. But part of it is mostly, or part of it is that, we just need to start somewhere with being able to transition back. And it might look like this for quite a while where it's just one person a day. But in terms of us being able to see clients in person, it's going to be a while. We have, the guidelines from the state, we have guidelines from the town, but we also have our professional licensing board guidelines about what a counseling space needs to look like and how it needs to be set up to be able to do it safely. So we need to be accounting for those pieces too. If anything, down the road, I imagine that I'm going to be moving out of my office for a while to allow for any meetings to occur within my room, as it is the biggest of the rooms and would allow for people to sit well over 6 feet apart if they needed to. But I don't think we're going to be doing that for some time.
And how do the clients like doing this online? How is that going?
Megan, do you have anything to say?
It's been a change. I mean, it depends. I have one client who I'm actually doing better work with than I used to.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
And actually one of my youngest clients, which is not what I was expecting. I thought it would be hardest with that client because of her age. Then I have other clients who absolutely hate it. I have some who have just said, forget it, I don't want anything. Some who have changed their mind since saying that though. And then some people who are like, yeah, I would prefer in person, but this is working well enough. So it's really a mixed bag, depending on their personalities, their ages. I think it really just depends. So
the downside too is equity. Not everyone has access to a device with a camera. For some, that's okay, but for us as clinicians and a staff to be able to see people is better than over the phone, because you get a lot more information about how they're doing when you're able to lay eyes on them and observe their body language and so on. And so but some people don't have that capacity to, they don't have a device, a smartphone or a tablet or a computer at home. So unfortunately, not everything we're offering is completely equitable for that reason. So, but we're doing the best that we can. And so at the very least, we're able to offer phone appointments. I have one client who has all the resources but has terrible service at her house. And so we start on a video chat every time, and then we always end on the phone because halfway through the call, she's frozen and gets kicked off the service. So
I wonder if people worry about confidentiality over the internet also. And
Yeah.
then, yeah.
I have clients who,
Sorry, Beth, go ahead.
privacy, not necessarily the confidentiality piece is what they,
Yes,
they don't
yes.
feel like they can get privacy in their homes.
In their own home, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Weirdly, most people don't even we have them sign a form for the confidentiality piece, but most people just are like, okay, this works. I think they're so used to doing it
Mhm,
with everything
mhm.
else. They don't necessarily even think about that piece of thing.
Mhm.
I never even thought about that, because if you're dealing with something really serious too, and they have to get on a call with you, and the person that they're actually having the problem with is in the house, right? So,
Right there. Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
That's often the case. So I have a once a week appointment in someone's car. 'Cause that's often, that's one place where they can have privacy.
wow.
Yeah.
Megan and Sarah, are you seeing you have more clients now or fewer, or what's happening?
We haven't had, we've only had a small amount of new clients. We retained a number of our clients. The two graduate interns we had just finished this past week.
Oh.
So both of them had on average about 12 to 15 clients each. So I'm in the process of trying to help them find someone through their insurance, as Megan and I don't have the capacity to take on all of those clients. But so for each of us that were offering counseling services, we retained most of our clients, but there were several that said, and I think that was out of self-preservation's sake, just saying, I'm overwhelmed. And even though counseling is supposed to help with that, but just trying to juggle so many things that it wasn't within their capacity to juggle one more thing, which I can relate to. As Megan said, a few people said, I'm okay for right now, let's see where this goes, and then have since come back around now that we've seen that this has lasted longer, have come back around to say, okay, I know this isn't what it used to be, but I'd like to commence seeing you. Yeah, so I would say we probably lost like 10 to 15% of our clients. I don't know, Megan, if you'd agree with that. Depends from one clinician to another. Probably 10% overall.
Can I ask you what the number is of just to get it? I mean, do you have 20 a piece? Do you have 10 a piece? Do you have 30 a piece? Do you have more?
We had 43 people overall that were seen through the months of March, April, and May.
Wow.
And Megan wins the prize for the most number of clients. We're sort of set up that way. I have a pretty small caseload. I have 5 clients currently. And then our 2 interns had on average 12 to 15 each.
They're done now, Sarah? Are they done? The interns are done?
Yeah, their last day was last week.
Okay.
So,
Thank you for answering.
yeah. And then Shannon's continued to support particular families that have more of a need to connect with resources. And she's had a number of new people show up on her radar for need-based services, especially. I would say our increasing numbers have been in that area versus in the counseling services.
I was just thinking how marvelous it is to have Shannon as in her current position. It's great. Yeah.
It has been, she's very resourceful and knowledgeable, and it's been a huge asset to the department.
Yeah.
to have
No, you three work together so well. I think you three work together so well.
Thank you. We try. We do like each other, so that helps.
That helps.
So was there a big response to the flyer? I mean, I didn't get it, so
I know. Well, so I don't know how many of you, I sent an email. We did do some reconnaissance work on that to see how many other people we heard of. Kathy Cook also let me know that she didn't receive one, but she's on an email list with 100 of her neighbors. And I guess 4 or 5 people in her neighborhood did not get it. She thought she was seeing a trend geographically in terms of
yeah, that's what I
where it
wondered.
stopped.
Yeah.
But then a couple more emails came in and completely debunked her theory in terms of who didn't get it and who did. So basically, where things stand, I have to follow up with the assistant town administrator about this, but she has a number of extra copies. And whenever we hear that somebody didn't get one, we're gonna send it out to them, which is challenging because the point was to be able to try to reach everyone, especially those who don't have access to computers or the internet. And how are they going to find out that they can access this? So we depend on word of mouth a bit. So if you hear that somebody didn't get one and would like to have one, please let us know. I offered to Vanessa to take that over and share, to send those to people that we hear didn't get one. But it sounds like it was only a small handful, so
That's good.
yeah.
I kind of wondered if the mailman had put it in with all those other, newspaper flyers, like if he had stuffed it inside there.
Sure.
Because I don't even look at those things.
Yeah, I
So if it
didn't
happened
see
to
one
come
either.
out on that same day, then he may have done that. But I didn't ask him. So what were we gonna say, Sarah?
I did not receive one
You
either.
not received one either?
I don't know, was it put in with other town related information? No,
No, it just came with the regular mail.
yeah.
It's just a standalone
It was
flyer.
really well done.
I know, I would have loved to have seen it.
I asked,
Turns out we have extra copies, so.
Oh, good.
the one neighbor
Maybe they-
that I asked said she didn't receive it because, as I mentioned before, I'm in Vermont and I'm having my mail forwarded here. So I just assumed that piece wasn't forwarded. But then when I asked the neighbor that would be like aware of receiving something like that and probably would have kept it, she said no, she did not get it.
That's too bad.
It's so frustrating.
Have you had any, have people said, oh, I got the flyer and that's why I'm calling you? Shannon is,
I would say, well, Shannon, yeah, chime in.
No, there was only maybe one person that came forward after that. There has been a lot of activity though, and I don't know if it's like people that we haven't seen for a long time were like, oh wait, maybe we should ask. But no one has said it was because of the flyer, so.
Right. The other thing that we've been talking a lot about too is that we anticipate that people are going to be struggling more down the line versus immediately, because so much had gone into place right away to support people in terms of unemployment and the bills being people being able to defer bill payments and such. So what's really going to be probably more challenging for folks is when all of that ends. And so we anticipate an uptick in somebody. Who was I talking to recently? Oh, I think it was Rona, Megan, that we can fall back on, that we were busy to begin with. And so we can't predict the future, but what we can sort of say is we knew we were busy already, but that we can sort of predict that things are not going to necessarily, the need is not going to decrease, but that it will increase.
Increase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if the second stimulus check will go through, and just FYI, the supplement on your unemployment, it will end July 15th. So I expect, you know, some people will start feeling that fairly immediately. So just a heads up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Even with the extra 600, it is capped. There is a, you know, so some people are still getting less than they were weekly. So I'm sure it's gonna start snowballing at some point for some people.
Right. Yeah, and this kind of relates back to the need the department has for this admin assistant. You know, the case can be made, not to open up that conversation again, but again, the case can be made that the sooner our department can be operating more efficiently, the better. So again, you know, the January 1st start date really would not put us in a position to be able to adequately respond and be supportive to needs of the community. July 1st is ideal because as soon as possible, that's great. But again, that's 3 weeks away. And so a September 1st date, you know, we want to be in as good a shape as we can be for when some of these struggles people are having really ramp up. So
Yeah, and realistically, Sarah, it'd be very hard to hire somebody in a 3-week period.
yes, right.
So maybe it's all good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think one of the problems that people are going to start seeing as we phase in more at work situations is that it's the summer, the kids are home, and there's no camp programs, there are some daycares, but they have very limited spots now. So there's going to be a real squeeze between the working parent, as you know, and caring for your children. So I don't know, you know, what that.
It almost feels like it's going to be even potentially harder because they're talking about a hybrid model in a lot of districts where, and I just have no idea. Yeah,
How that would work.
No,
how are you supposed to have daycare one week but not the next? And
we just got I don't know if you've read any of the COVID education requirements, but I'm going to be certified in it for the preschool, and I got a little preview, and it's going to be really, really hard out there because
I think it's going to be impossible for that age group too. You put
we're basically going to offer probably preschool only to kids going to pre-K because it's you have to follow some pretty serious social distancing rules, and the number of people we can have in our classroom have shrunk, and that's true of daycares too. So a daycare that used to be able to take 20 kids can probably take 12 now. So then there's 8 kids that are out of it, and they're not going to like all these kooky schedules either, you know. So anyway, I think it's just going to be a really very hard time for the parents and how they're going to make decisions on how they're going to care for their children and also go back to work. A lot of companies are going to be very empathetic, and I think they have found that working at home is actually more efficient for a lot of these people. So it might not be a problem, but also being at home and caring for your children at the same time as you're trying to work is incredibly stressful. And I think we're going to start seeing people, I don't know, locking their kids in the closet. I don't know. And I think, you know, it's going to get that part of the whole equation, I think, is going to really become more acute. So.
Oh, definitely.
So I don't know how we can I don't know. I don't know what kind, I don't even know what to recommend to my own friends, you know?
Mhm.
But maybe putting, you know, as a resource for families, they might start coming to the organization to ask for some kind of help. So we might need to figure out what that help might be.
Mhm. Mhm.
If
Are you three meeting every week? Do you do like your weekly meeting? Okay.
Sometimes more than that. So I meet individually with Megan and Shannon for an hour once a week to discuss their cases and what's on their plate individually. And then once a week, we also have an all staff meeting to discuss things that pertain to the department in general or things that all three of us are involved in. And then certainly, you know, we actually started a new something that was being offered by the town called Microsoft Teams, because we were emailing each other so much that this actually has a chat function, so we can just yeah, it's been very nice to be able to do that. But yeah, we're in constant. I apologize to them on a weekly basis because even on the weekends I'm saying, hey, can I talk to you, or can you check your email and tell me what your thoughts are on what I just sent you? And
Well, one of my big things when talking to the selectmen and advisory board too is that, you know, we get emails from you at 10:30 at night. So I know that you're not working normal hours. You're working
yeah.
crazy hours. It's
Mhm,
so that's just one more thing.
mhm, mhm.
You,
Well,
you need help. You
when
definitely need help.
that, but also when you have your children at home and you're trying to make sure that you are doing a good job, you have to work
When they're
outside of
sleeping.
normal hours. So, yeah. Actually,
There's a
oh, go ahead.
generation I just talking about having the kids at home. There's a whole generation of couples who have always worked, and they had kids, but they've always worked, so they never developed the stay-at-home parenting skill set. So they're juggling like a whole new thing along with trying to work at home. So
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
sure it's been very, very difficult for a lot of people. And with the uncertainty of school,
Mhm,
and I'm sure a lot of people are really nervous.
mhm. I would just like to chime in at this point too. I've reached out to a couple of you about this, and oh, someone's at the door. Not available right now. It's okay. I couldn't have timed that better.
put the
Um,
fire out.
We are, so early on, we offered some online support groups for different age groups, from young kids, middle school, high school, young adults, parents, and senior citizens. We didn't have much of a response to those. And then over time and talking with Shannon and Megan, we started to appreciate even within our own circles just how overwhelmed people were, and that they were seeking each other. You know, people are seeking each other out to get support, but you know, just really also kind of shutting down at the same time and cutting off communication with others, as a way of just, again, self-preservation. And I guess I can appreciate that and relate to it too. And we kept hearing within our own circles of people wanting to connect with each other and get support. And so we decided that we were going to try a different avenue in terms of offering support to the community in the form of a talk show. And the thought there was that we wanted to create an outlet for people that had some humor, that was lighthearted at times, because, you know, it's actually pretty triggering to just keep going to these conversations and seeing information about how awful, things are right now, and in many ways, and that we need reminders. We need time to laugh with one another and find hope and find support, and still have some serious conversations, but maybe in a forum that's not so, doesn't elicit so many feelings of hopelessness and sadness, which a support group, you feel like not super exciting to, or not super
Well,
uplifting.
What I found is that, well, the technology is wonderful that we have this
Uh-huh.
technology in this modern day. It's like
Mhm.
incredible that we can do this. But at the same time, it made me feel more lonely, like
Mm.
because I'm seeing you all and everything, but there's just something about like sitting at a table with everybody, and like
Mhm,
I'd
mhm,
get off of something and I'd feel more empty rather
mhm.
than, like I had visited with people. It was just like, oh, I feel, yeah, actually more disconnected. But,
Right, right,
you know,
right. The
it's
reality
amazing.
hits you when you turn it off and you're back in your own room again,
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
amazing that we can do this.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
then when it's over, it's like, oh, I'm still just here by myself.
Yeah.
It's not the
Yeah.
same as going out and
Mhm.
experiencing the outside world.
Right, right.
I think a
So,
lot of people are suffering from Zoom fatigue too. I think that it's a lot to just, sometimes I have 3 or 4 Zooms a day, and I'm exhausted between friends and family and other organizations I'm involved in. I'm just like, and I can even tell that with, I mean, preschool's over, but I could tell that was happening with the kids. They just
Mhm,
did not want to be there anymore.
mhm,
I want to go
mhm,
out and play outside or do
Yeah,
something.
really.
So
mhm.
I think that we're all kind of, getting to the end of our ropes with this kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah, social isolation is it's a form of, didn't I read that somewhere? It's a form of torture, so
Yeah,
it's,
it's your basic solitary confinement. I
yeah,
think we should
yeah.
have a contest. We should have a contest for weirdest stay-at-home outfit and hairdo. Because
Funny thing. David and Megan, that's the funny
good
thing you could do.
God, what are you putting on yourself? I know. It's
You want to see what I have on? No, I'm
yes,
just
please.
I have
I have my riding clothes on. I made it
Yay.
with this scarf, but this is also my face covering.
There you
Oh,
go.
excellent.
perfect,
Excellent.
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, so I just wanted to mention to keep things supportive, offer opportunities. It's not ideal, to Beth's point and everybody's point about, Zoom fatigue, social isolation. It's not ideal. Of course, we would love to offer support groups in person, but we can't sit outside and maintain confidentiality with people. We can't actually do this in a closed room setting right now. And people, are tired of, are getting tired of these meetings. We're offering something. Does anybody know Coffee Talk on Saturday Night Live with Mike Myers as
Yeah.
Linda Richmond?
I
Yeah.
love it.
So we're calling it Coffee Talk and paying tribute to that fun skit. We are not going to talk like Linda Richmond, although we're really want to, but the plan is to get together once a week. It's a very brief meeting, 10 o'clock in the morning. We wanted to steer clear of encouraging cocktail hour. I think people are drinking plenty right now, and we don't want to.
I'm not.
Okay. We don't want to encourage or contribute to that, and certainly, send an opposite message that we're concerned about substance use right now. But so it's sort of a place, all of us just now are commiserating with one another about how hard this is. And so it's a place for us to respond to people's letters, writing in about what they're struggling with. We'll have people join us occasionally. We've been studying a lot of different talk show formulas. This cat, so funny. She's like, can I get any closer to you?
Maybe that cat should be on the coffee talk.
Yeah. She could be our first guest.
Right.
But we're gonna add some humor. We're gonna get serious at times. If anybody has, so we reached out to a couple of people just for content. But if anybody has and wants to write into us, we're not gonna be sharing any identifying information. It's all gonna be confidential, but we want to encourage the community to be able to write in, to ask questions, that sort of thing. They're going to be recorded and shared at a later time. So we have to be mindful that not everyone is going to want to sort of watch banter between people later on. We want it to actually be helpful in some way. So we're thinking we might limit the number of people actually on the call, but that we would certainly take people's letters or questions that they submitted to us ahead of time, or we're hoping to take this live so that we can post it and stream it live too, so that we can take calls.
You have an email for it?
Right now it's just my email address. But Megan, Shannon and I are gonna try this tomorrow and at least try recording it to see if we can get some sort of formula down for a format for the talk show.
It's like your Jim and Marjorie, right?
Yes. We're gonna get Megan a gong. So every once in a while she's gonna hit the gong. Whenever anybody engages in self-deprecating talk, she's gonna hit the gong.
You need Jerry Springer on there. Are you going to do paternity tests?
You need that.
Talk to the hand.
Yeah.
You could set up a Gmail account for that.
Yeah, we could.
So
It's in the very early stages, so
Oh.
we just wanted to let you know what it was, and it might come across as silly, but that's on purpose. you know?
silly is good.
I think everybody needs a good dose of silly right now.
Right,
So
right.
I'm
Now,
all
it
in favor.
seems to me that the biggest problem many people are having is ambivalence about getting their hair cut and going to the hairdresser. I know it's
a
shallow
thing.
and stupid, but everybody's like, do I risk my life to get my hair cut? And the answer is yes, of course you do. Yeah.
That's what Sarah said early on. She said, I might have COVID-19 now, but at least
I'll look good in the hospital.
I'll look good while I'm in the hospital.
There you
No, but these are the kinds of things, like everything from that kind of conversation to more serious, that we
Right.
want a platform for people to be able to participate,
How
and
soon are you
I think
planning
it's
to
a
launch this, Sarah?
we don't know. We have to get some of the logistics figured out, like how I'll share with you. I asked my uncle Paul, he has a recording studio. He recreated the original Coffee Talk jingle at the beginning for us to use, and Shannon put together this really awesome Coffee Talk screen with a cup of coffee that actually winks at you. It's really great. So that's going to be the opening. But like logistically, we have to figure out how to be able to share that at the start of the show, each episode. It sounds like Shannon.
You're going to have a topic for each episode?
Yes, we will. We're going to have a topic, but we're also going to allow for flexibility in the conversation.
Something that's come up a lot in my little circle. No, I want just not just my family, a little bigger than that.
Actually, Sarah, can you save that thought? Would you be
Yeah.
willing to send me an email with the topic?
Yes, I
Because
will.
we are collecting, and it's going to allow, if we don't have everything scripted ahead of time, we have a topic for each week. So for example, tomorrow we're going to test this out with the topic of parenting, which is pretty broad, but we have some direction that we're going in with that. But if anybody, and that's partly where I was going with this, if anybody has things that they're hearing about or is personally struggling with something or has a funny story that they want to share, we welcome all of it, because I think we need to get the momentum going with this in order for it to become useful to more people.
Yes. I love my children but segment, right?
Yes, yes.
Do
I love
something
my
on
children, but
panic attacks, panic attacks. I actually had to refer to my medical first, my mental health first aid.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I've had to
Right.
de-escalate several people, and it seems like I think with everything going on now, tons of stuff is triggering, but it can also be funny because I use a lot of humor in helping these people kind of disengage from
Mhm,
the,
mhm.
but you could do definitely. I'll be happy to be a guest on there and have one for you.
There you go. That'll work. There's so many opportunities. There's also the thing of, is school gonna open really?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not that far away, you know?
No, it'll be here before you know it.
It's
And
8 weeks, basically.
Yeah.
one
We've
thing
also-
I've been doing that's kind of helpful is we've started to get together outside with small groups of like 6 people and sit far apart so that at least you see your friends. It's
Yeah, I think it's time to open your circle a little bit. And
yeah, like no parties and nothing inside, but just
No.
to
I
get
don't
some fresh air.
want to go to a restaurant or a movie theater, but I have had people in my backyard and
Us too.
I cooked brunch and I served it outside and it was rejuvenating.
We
So,
we did a pizza party, so
Yeah.
everybody had to bring their own
Own
pizza,
Yeah.
their own wine, their own wine glasses, and there was
yeah.
you could use the bathroom, but you had to wipe it all down with wipes and
Yeah.
Lysol and stuff if you had to go in. So
Oh, that's good. That's often a question, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, first
We
said
purchased-
no one in the house, absolutely no one in the house.
Yeah.
Megan, are you laughing because I'm about to disclose what we did?
What did you do?
You guys get together?
We purchased a privacy tent and an outdoor toilet for our guests.
Whoa.
Wow, I like
Wow.
that.
Well, mostly it's for my mother because she misses her grandchildren and she wanted to be able to visit, but wasn't necessarily comfortable coming inside yet. We weren't sure if we wanted her to come inside either. Mostly we're worried about her not her bringing something to us. But so we have a camping toilet outside our house with a privacy tent.
Can I come over?
That's
Yes,
awesome.
it is. It flushes and everything. It's
That's
great.
great.
Very
Who
high
thought
tech.
of, Sarah, who thought of that? That was
I
brilliant.
did.
Yay.
I did. Yeah.
Where do
Because
you
I missed my mother. I wanted her to be able to come over and visit, but not to be like, I have to use the ladies' room, so I have to leave now. So,
Oh,
yeah. So
I know
anyway.
my mother is alone, and it's really hard. She's
Mhm.
struggling. She's having a hard time. You go to see her, and I'd stay in the driveway and talk to her from my car while she sat on her little front porch. But
Mhm, mhm.
she's sick of it. She'd rather get it, is what she's saying.
The
No, she
seniors
wouldn't.
are really starting to break down.
Mhm.
I see my dad regularly and I hug him and we're just
Mhm.
past that. We're like, okay,
Mhm.
we need human contact. So
Mhm. So I'm gonna bring us back to the agenda.
Sorry.
yeah,
No, but all of these anecdotes are exactly why we want to, pursue this avenue of just we're calling it a talk show, and that's really the format we're going with, and trying to again bring some lightheartedness, but camaraderie, some humor, but seriousness, and some helpful tips and information for people as they're navigating all these different changes. So if you personally have something going on that you think would be a good topic for us to discuss, if you hear of a story or have something difficult, or a neighbor or a family member that's navigating something difficult, please you can send it to me, and it will be very helpful for us in terms of our pilot of this program. Eventually, again, as I said, we'd like to go live with it so that people in real time can contribute to the show. But to start, we're gonna try it this way, and they will be recorded for people to review later. So
This will be on a YouTube channel?
it's probably going to be through Facebook Live, and then
Oh,
we'll
okay.
record it and have the links available on our webpage.
Great,
Yes.
great idea.
You're gonna go viral.
Maybe.
You might be
And
famous.
then it'll be great. It'll be great.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, good.
You know, just hanging out with people who are 30 or more years younger than you, like exclusively, like,
Yeah.
and like challenging.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Friends report is the next thing. And I know Leslie, you had asked to have that on there. So do you want to say something about that? Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
And I apologize. I had to mute myself several times during this call because people have been walking in and out of the kitchen. And I wasn't
Out of the
savvy enough to get myself on the iPad, so I just stayed here. Yes, we had a Zoom call with the Friends group, including Sarah, Sue, Kathy Cook, myself, and Lauren Ritchie. I forget if
And
there may have been.
Jennifer.
Oh,
Garden.
and Jennifer Garden. And we voted for some officers because Kathy wanted to formalize the Friends group and felt it was necessary to have something in place in terms of approving any invoices that need to be paid, any expenses that we're going to be paying. She thought it would be a good idea. So I'm going to be acting as president for this year. Sue's going to be the secretary and Kathy's going to be the treasurer.
Congratulations, all of you.
Yeah, that's
Thanks a lot.
I don't know if it's worthy of congratulations, but
yeah, I know it
Can I-
is.
Can I just pause for a minute and just, I want to
Please do.
formally thank Beth Dombacher for all of her work over the years for Friends. I see her chiming in response to the formulation of a board. As an individual, doing all of the pieces for Friends is completely overwhelming, and she was very gracious to help us with that for a long time. And it's incredibly stressful. And so.
And by yourself, all by yourself.
Yeah. And
Yep.
she put up with me for a long time, needing information, but not always doing a very good job of getting it to her. So I think the combination of our department having an admin assistant coming on board, hopefully, and the combination of the Friends of group formalizing a board with job responsibilities is a major step. But I want to make sure that we show our appreciation to Beth for doing it for so long without anybody to, bounce ideas off of. And so this is a great step for the Friends of
It
group to
is.
formalize a board.
And kudos to Leslie for like getting it going. And
Mhm.
so,
And
what
Kathy Cook's involvement too, sort of helping even me understand, sort of the process that she has to undergo every year and how that helped us move in a direction of formalizing a board also. So hopefully this helps, because I think, it's useful to not, and this is probably why it was really stressful for a long time as an individual to do this, but to be able to ask for approval from a board versus asking for approval from one person, at least it's a joint decision in terms of expenses, because that's a lot of pressure to put on one person to make decisions like that. So this is a great step. So sorry, Leslie, to cut you off.
No, I think
If you
that
want
was-
to add
I
more.
agree. I really appreciate all the effort and time that Beth has put in over the years. And I don't know how you did it all that time by yourself, but
Mhm.
so the three of us will be the formal board members, but we're going to continue to recruit volunteers, friends, and we have a couple already, and I have a couple other friends who've expressed interest. So if any of you know people that are interested, please send them my way. We have a friend's Facebook page that's going to be maintained by Lauren Ritchie. So that's set up, but we're going to continue to maintain that and keep that up to date. Kathy's going to work on updating the email, which I guess we have an email account, but really nobody's really been monitoring that. She's going to update it, and then I guess Lauren is going to check it on a regular basis. And we're going to have regular meetings. The week after we all meet, after the board meets, we'll have a meeting with the Friends group once a month to kind of talk about any needs that come up. And we're also trying to continue momentum on the shopping with the purpose night that was scheduled for May 1st. Right now we're thinking possibly move it out to next May of 2021 to kick off Mental Health Awareness Month. And so we can
I
continue.
know.
Yes,
Hopefully everything is fine then, you know?
I know. So that's the thought. And obviously, we can chat if any board members during the year have ideas. We did bring up a couple of other fundraising ideas, but I welcome anything that any of you have for ideas that we can bring to the Friends group.
Great.
Good.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome. Do either of
Thank you.
you, Sarah or Sarah Castle or Sue have anything to add to that? Takeaways from the meeting that we had 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I think,
go ahead.
I'm glad that Beth did it for as long as she did by herself too. You had to make all those decisions on your own, right? It's nice to have other people
Yeah.
being there with you, so.
Yeah. And just an appreciation in the work that goes into it. It was hard to keep going when you did it on your own and no one could see how much work it was.
And nobody knew. Not that you do it for, recognition.
Yeah. No, but you need the support,
Right,
yeah.
and so a board is really very helpful for that. The only thing I'd add, the email actually was okay. I think it was the website that Kathy was gonna,
Okay,
the Friends website that she
Yep.
was gonna update.
that's right.
We had a volunteer a while ago who had made a whole new Friends of website. But once that volunteer left, no one knew how to change any of the content. So it wasn't actually super helpful, although it was in the moment that particular year because we did something with t-shirt sales that year. So that was great. No, I don't have anything else, Friends, that I can remember from that. Let me just pull up any other business which shall properly come before the board. I know Natal, Sue, did you want to talk about, Sue, Natal was hoping to join us. Her daughter was receiving an award today via I think a Zoom award ceremony, which is sad. I know her kids do a lot of community service, which is wonderful. But Sue, are we able to?
I think we can share, and she may even pop on. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think she
but-
was hoping to, but
So her twin daughters who are in 8th grade just got into Phillips Academy in Andover. I think that's the name of it. So their house is on the market. They're gonna leave. So, sorry.
Oops. Whose dog is it?
it's Sarah Micus. I just muted her. I hope she doesn't mind. Sarah, feel free to unmute yourself when when the dogs cease barking.
So I think that she's gonna be leaving. And so we'll be looking for another board member.
Mhm.
I mean,
And her
I
term
should-
is up, her term is up at the end of June, so it
Yeah,
actually, timing
June
wise,
30th, so.
yeah.
Okay. Well, congratulations to her for the kids. That's
Yeah.
Oh, great, that's
It is
great.
exciting. Yeah,
too bad for us, but okay.
it is. I would like to find a way to thank her. Normally, when a board member leaves, we have a card that we sign and a little gift as thanks, and even have enjoyed dinner or something like that. So we'll have to see what we could do and find a time that she'd be available to join us for that. And just for having it on people's radar, the way that people express interest in a board position is via the town website. There's a volunteer form. I think if I'm remembering this correctly, it's been a while, but so if you have someone that you think might be interested and want to encourage them to fill one of those volunteer forms out through, I think it's the Board of Selectmen's webpage. I could be wrong on that.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
But it's a great opportunity also, as much as we're sad to lose Natal and all of her contributions to our meetings. And if anyone has someone in mind, even that has a human service background or mental health background, that's great too. It helps inform the department and in terms of service provisions and so on and so forth. But just so you have it on your radar, so her term is ending 30th. So I don't think she needs to. She's not resigning from the board. She's just finishing out her term and not
Right.
renewing her term.
Right.
So that I think is the only other piece that is worth noting.
Well, good luck to them all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your town.
I wanted to throw something out, and we don't have to really discuss it right now, but
Another kitty.
yeah, just put it on your radar screen because I think things are going to shift in how communities provide mental health services, given the current state of our emergency services, and people are questioning whether police or firemen or paramedics or social workers provide emergency services to the community. I think we just need to be really mindful. I think there's going to be a big shift in our society about how social welfare resources and services are distributed to people. So I think we're well poised, but I do think that there's going to be a paradigm shift. Because I think people see that police should not be delivering emergency mental health services and other kinds of social services. So I think that we're going to become even more important and have more opportunities to add to our service offering and also staff. I think we're totally underfunded. I think where the shift is going, I think things are changing. So just be mindful. And I think we probably, once we get out of a pandemic, I don't know, but I do think we probably, as we see things shift and how things are evolving over the next 6 months, I think we might be mindful of going back to the strategic plan. Okay.
It's so hard to know when to start that strategic plan because it's like.
I know. I want Saturday to happen so that we can.
Yeah.
I'll feel much better after that. I hope I feel much better after that.
Right.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna sit way over to the side.
Are you supposed to bring a chair? What are you?
I think they're providing chairs. I don't know, but because I remember them talking about spacing things
Yeah.
apart. So, but hopefully it's not the kind, again, the goal is to not have a very long meeting. So even if you don't show up with your chair, you're not going to be standing, and there's no chair provided, you're not going to be there standing for long periods of time. But
It'll be.
yeah, they do need to have a
quorum.
they need to have a quorum of 100 voters to be able to have the meeting. So, so the hope is that the turnout is at least enough to hold the meeting. Anything else before we adjourn? Thank you for everybody's patience in terms of like knowing what to expect with these board meetings or how often they're happening. It's hard to answer that because things are changing pretty regularly. So
Well, I can't wait to have you all over my house for
Yeah.
like a cookout or something.
You
Oh,
want to
good.
see your cats. Do we set a date for the next meeting?
we could.
Why don't we check it out, see what we got?
I'm so
Does this time, I think this was the time frame we did last time. So I think if we could settle on a time frame that
Yeah,
could
I
work.
agree.
Because I know the first Tuesday of the month in the evening was what we had been doing. So it was easier to schedule something. For at least for me, working remotely, 7 p.m. on a weeknight was not working
good,
great. But
Do you want to move it to Monday a month from now? At 1?
Are we meeting over the summer?
Does Sue work during the day?
I do not work. I'm not
Oh, the
working at
other-
all anymore.
The other Sue.
Oh,
Oh, so
Susan?
she's retired, but she was working per diem. So
Yeah.
she was working a lot. I don't know since the virus showed up, how often she's going in now, but
Oh, she did join last time. That's true. That's
yeah,
She
she
did,
was
yeah.
on last time.
I actually thought she would be here this time too, but maybe something changed.
A month from now would be July 6th, Monday,
I think some people might be having extended vacations.
like
so-
Leslie.
Yeah. I
No,
know.
not
that
willing.
Monday-
We don't normally meet over the summer, so I was
Oh, okay.
right.
asking
We
the
did-
question.
We did vote though at the beginning of this year to do that because
Okay.
if we remember, our department has to make a lot of decisions over the summer about the subsequent year, and in order to get the board's sort of feedback or input on what we do the subsequent year, we would need to meet over the summer to be able to share that and have you guys be part of those conversations. I believe are going to be able to continue meeting remotely for a while, and so I personally, like, I have a vacation, not that week of June 6th. It's so funny. Can you see me? Can you see me? But I would be able to participate remotely even if I was away. I don't know if, are other people away during that particular Monday?
I actually have 2 doctor's appointments that day for my
That
board,
Monday?
not me. Yeah.
Okay,
And they actually have to go in. So
okay.
I could do Tuesday.
I could do Tuesday as well. Doing it,
Tuesday's better anyway because
Oh, I got
that's
dark
the
again,
Fourth
sorry.
weekend,
Yeah.
July 4th weekend. So I think Tuesday'd be better
That's
anyway.
very
so-
good point.
Tuesday the
usually
7th?
do take that week off, but I don't have any big plans this year.
I was gonna say, everybody's plans are not.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But Leslie's right. It is the 4th of July weekend, so.
Yeah, let's do
maybe
Tuesday then.
Okay,
right.
at 1, is 1 o'clock good?
Yep.
Sure.
So we can-
Megan and Shannon, well, I have always told Megan and Shannon, they like coming to the board meetings, but they are under no obligation to do so I would
We
love
should
for
be
them to be
fine.
able to make it, but
I
It should
like
be
them
fine.
to come.
we
I do
like
too.
having them here.
Now we like
You
to
don't
see
have
everybody.
to.
Megan?
Yeah, I was just waiting for everyone to, yes, that's fine. I know, yeah, that'll be fine. Shannon will have to plan if we do have youth council meetings. not to have
Oh,
you
yeah.
that day because we'd be really cutting it close, but I don't think we'll be doing them every week through the summer. So we can
Okay,
do that day, not a youth council meeting day.
okay.
Okay,
And I'm in the office that day. Well, we'll see. July might be a different story, but
Might
Um,
be different by then.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's July 7th at 1 o'clock.
1
o'clock?
p.m.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And I roughly, I mean, we've been doing like an hour and a half, so I think it would be wise to,
I move to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
do we need to vote on that?
Oh,
Landry, aye.
Butka, aye.
Mike is aye.
Bacher, aye.
I will, on Tuesday, I mean, if Saturday, if we have the meeting on Saturday, the town meeting, I will email all you afterwards and find out, tell you what happened.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm gonna try to go because it'll be one to be put down in the memory book.
Right.
Oh,
okay.
It's gonna be a session for your coffee talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What town meeting actually looked like, right?
right, right. Okay, Melissa, you still there?
wait
I'm here.
Oh, you are. You've enjoyed our conversation, you
Wake
poor
up,
thing.
Melissa.
Songs and all. Yep.
Thank
Um,
you.
Do we need to do anything else or do we just leave?
Nope, you're all set.